Hi everybody, it's Ryan from Ryviews.com, and today I'm doing a Gemcraft Chapter 2 walkthrough for Field V11. And for those of you unfamiliar with the game, V11 is like a challenge stage. They call it a vision field, where you don't have any of the bonuses you get from leveling up, all the bonuses to talisman. It's basically, once you unlock it, it levels the playing field. It's always the same battle no matter what, and you're trying to beat it. And if you're a Gemcraft fan, you'll recognize this as the very first Gemcraft stage, if I'm not very much mistaken. So you'll see here, kind of moving my gems around. I want to have poison up front, so that way they have time to get injured by it. Otherwise, not a whole lot of strategy to where you place your early gems. You also want to have some mana gain up front, so that way you can kind of buff up those two things and hit them automatically. So you can see here, I actually did place a tower to get the best of that little bend. But in general, you just want to make sure you can hit them a lot. Leaving them in that first tower is probably okay. But so, this works out pretty well. I upgrade that pretty fast. You want to make sure you can maximize the mana you're getting from each one, and also the poison you're able to apply to each one. You want to definitely maximize the bolt spell. So you see me on a little dash on the top left. That's the bolt, if you're unfamiliar. You want to basically always be using that, because the bolt is basically the only way you can actually injure these guys. Don't be afraid to let them run through the orb too much. Obviously you don't want them running, but each one takes off maybe 300 mana, so you can easily have a little bit of running through. But in general, the biggest trick to this level, whether or not you're trying to cycle them through or not, is trying to move a power gem around, like this red and yellow I just moved to the bottom. And frequently, I'll pause to move it around. Move it around to maximize where you're going to be able to hit these bosses, okay? It's very important to keep moving it around to maximize the coverage it has. That's basically the one and only key to beating this level. Keep giving it bolt, and keep shuffling it around to slaughter the bad guys wherever it is. You can see me pausing it, moving it, pausing it, moving it, just to maximize its coverage. And like I said, you want to make sure you apply bolt to it every time you can. And other than that, just let it do its work. Without bolt, honestly, it does very little damage. But with bolt, it kicks some serious ass. I'm sure I mentioned this in a tips and tricks earlier. If I didn't, I don't know. But basically, the best way to maximize bolt is to apply it to a gem that you recently moved or recently upgraded, because bolt will cancel its loading time. So if you apply bolt to a loading gem, it'll automatically be ready for you. So that's the best time to apply bolt. You want to apply it as you're loading a gem. So it's best to move the gem if you're able to apply a bolt right afterwards. You want to move the gem and then apply a bolt. You don't have to wait for any loading time. It's the best way to maximize moving the gem around, because otherwise you're stuck waiting on it the entire time. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to keep going through this level, but that's the general kind of method I took. And I'll let you keep watching to see my general rule of thumb. But basically here, I leveled up the mana pool probably 5 or 6 times, as much as I could throughout the level. And otherwise, I would keep kind of leveling up my gem as necessary. But as you can see right now with the bolt, it's tearing through the bad guys, no problem. And I have a healthy kind of amount of mana in the bank in case they were to break through right now. But bolt recharges fast enough that you can pretty much keep them at bay, especially if you have these 3 or 4 towers around the map that you can move your main gem around to. The biggest thing about any level like this is to kind of step back and realize it has to be beatable. They level everything on purpose. It's supposed to be something where it's just skill-based. It's not about grinding. It's about being able to beat one concise challenge. And so the biggest thing involved with that is, right off the bat, as soon as you unlock it, it is the same difficulty as it is if you played it at the end of the game, as the last level. So that's why I really wanted to sit down and make myself beat it. I actually had to try once and I failed. And it was honestly, I think, because I tried to put too many gems in the field. You can see right now I still only have 2 gems. I've been leveling up this main gem that I keep moving around, and I'm still using that first gem that to get the mana with. And honestly, the poison isn't really doing much for me, but I kept it around. The biggest deal in my mind is you want to power up this gem, because all these monsters are extremely heavily armored. And when you have an armored enemy, you always want to focus on singular powerful gems. Because basically, there's that armor threshold, a bunch of smaller gems, while they're great against swarmlings, are terrible against bosses and giants. So the best strategy for this is to have one really powerful gem. And right now, when you get towards the end of the level, okay, because there's lots of guys cycling through my orb right now, I got a little nervous. The best thing in my mind to do is to change the target priority to weakest. That will maximize your ability to kill guys and step up the mana you're getting each time that they cycle through the map, and that will help you survive. Especially because the fewer monsters cycling through, the more mana you're able to save. And this is where I'm changing it around. You really want to attack the lowest hit points. That way you can minimize the number of cycles, and then also get some mana to win. You can see here I moved it with the bolt. That was a great idea right there. That probably saved my level, quite frankly. I was able to kill a bunch of monsters right towards the end. So yeah, that's the big strategy towards the end, is applying least hit points to try to mop up the small guys, and let the big hit points guys just cycle until there's only a few of them left, and then you'll be able to mop them up anyway with bolt. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you don't have any trouble beating this level now. I don't know if, maybe you didn't before either, but I thought, since it's nice, it's just a baseline, and it's a pretty easy thing for me to show you how to beat. So thought I'd help you out with this video. If you have any other requests about levels you want me to play, I certainly can. But like I said, with lots of other levels, it's usually going to be up a lot more to your ability to grind, unless they're vision fields. It's going to be much more kind of subjective to where you are in the game at the time. But otherwise, whatever. So let me know if there are any other maps you want me to do, and I'll happily do them. And if you have any other strategy for this level or for any other levels, feel free to leave them in the comments. I appreciate feedback. Thanks for watching, everybody. Visit www.ryviews.com for more content, and don't forget to subscribe. Yeah. And let me just kill this last guy, and bam! Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.